Good morning, Twyla.
Good morning, Al. Thank you for getting my name right.
I just love saying that.
I love your shirt.
Well, thank you.
I don't say that very often, but I
No,
do
you
like
don't.
your shirt. Yeah.
That's the first time. And this is not my favorite shirt, but it's hers.
Really? Yay!
Yes.
Okay.
Now, what does your shirt say?
What does it say? I can't read upside down.
Red beans and rice make rice nice. Oh, I like that.
Isn't
That's
that cute with
Yeah.
little...
Beans and rice is, I have to tell you, it's my favorite food right now. And Dottie makes all these marvelous kinds. I love it. Anyway, moving right
Just go
along.
back kind of beans and rice. And you can dress up beans and rice any single way. Yeah.
You can.
And Chili Smith is open now, so that's
Yes.
really exciting.
Yeah.
I'm going to start doing some more classes there. We're meeting today, so I can do some more classes. So.
Good. What classes are you going to do?
Well,
Promote
probably
them.
finish up all the ones that I never get through here. They're mainly going to be cooking demos, I think. I think that's what he wants me to focus on, using some beans and rice. But I'm so glad because as you know, I'm not doing Renaissance again.
I know.
They've asked me to do some online classes, but I feel like one of the beauties of Renaissance was us actually getting out and getting
Yes,
together.
the interactions, and I went to your classes, and as a spectator, is that what we, or student, whatever.
As a fan, as a groupie.
Fan, all right. As a groupie. No, but I enjoyed talking to the people
And
I
they
met.
loved you. Oh my gosh, Al, big rock star. It's like,
No.
Twyla who? Let's
No.
bring in Al.
No.
But that's true. And so I just think with all this, you can watch this online. You could do this Zoom. You could do this webinar.
No.
It is keeping
It's
us
the-
more
it's
isolated.
Interaction.
And Dean Ornish or Blue Zones, they talk about that. The
They do.
isolation is just terrible.
And
yes.
now a word from our sponsor.
I'm ready! You guys know I love to dance and sing. Can you hear this? Can they hear it? Do we need to put a mic up there?
Right? It's okay. I can look like the other way. You can understand these things. This is a man.
Get ready for this.
I
Staying inside. Staying inside. Staying inside. Staying inside. Staying inside. Staying inside.
Ha ha.
Stay.
All
Hit
right.
that high note, Al.
I said we're done. That's it.
Just send a link. They'll put a link.
I will put the link on
Okay.
there. Do not worry.
Those of you who know me know that when you came to Dr. Greger, I wrote a couple of songs for him, and we all sang them. You remember that, Al? How could you forget that?
How can I forget that?
Okay, so I was working on this new one, then I got sidetracked a little bit last night. I was working on this new one. Instead of I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, mine is I'm stuck in COVID prison. And
I love it.
prison is right. Okay. So come on. Okay, so we've got my... what do you think of these earrings?
Oh, we're not ready for the earrings yet.
No,
those are pretty. We'll get to those. You have to tell me what was positive and or healthy and or both.
Well, this might be a little bit controversial, which I know we kind of disagree
Oh,
with this.
we would never do anything.
My
controversial.
positive was watching Plandemic, which I refer to as Panicdemic. But
Yes.
that was one of my favorites.
Yeah, you and I have a little disagreement over that.
Yeah, but that's okay.
That's the delight about you as being a friend.
I was going to say, as being a stupid person and Al being the intelligent one?
I was
what were you going to say?
co-host, I was trying to...
Be tactful, which he never is.
No, I'm never
Okay.
tactful. I was trying to properly identify our relationship, which I really can't. But what I do really admire...
We're not supposed to have anything with labels, so we won't want to label that.
Well, I label everything.
I know.
I do it with a marking pen as a piece of tape, and I label it. Otherwise, I can't find things in the refrigerator. What I value in you is that you and I can have disagreements, and yet we can still be civil about it and remain friends. And no, what did you just say? I've totally lost it. What were we?
The Plandemic,
Oh, the
Panicdemic.
pandemic. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Because I didn't like that time that on that. I just thought that was not productive. I like the one in Erickson much better.
Don't you love Dr. Erickson?
I did.
Oh, am I going to have to adopt another son? How many sons am I have? I got J.P. Sears, and I'm going to adopt Dr. Erickson. Well, he is fantastic. I saw him on, if any of you ever watch the podcast The High Wire with Del Bigtree, he had Dr. Erickson on, and Dr. Erickson, just wherever he goes, he's just so calm and articulate, unlike me.
If you want some straight information, not opinions, not suppositions, not projections.
What? That's my life.
Just go to him, Google him, and he and his partner have run about 6 or 8, seven clinics in Bakersfield,
Kern County,
and he just comes up with. He doesn't come up with his opinion. He comes up. This is what we found. This is what we found. And then when they ask him a question that's outside of his admittedly limited experience, then he refers to what's his name?
Witkowski,
who is a renowned
epidemiologist.
And then he goes and he shows the experience, the data and experience that happened in Italy, in Sweden.
Mainly this Italy thing is just northern Italy, not even southern Italy. They're making it look like it's, why should Sacramento County be compared to LA or New York?
Right.
We're totally different. We could be like 3 different states.
Or El Dorado County, the one I live in, that's not even close to Sacramento. I mean, it's close to, but I mean, it's not the same experience. So anyway, if you value data as I do, and not opinion, you want to go to him. So that's a disagreement that you and I have, but we
I would still suggest watching it if you can find it, because YouTube took it down.
No, it's I looked, it's down.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's still down, or is it back up?
Oh, I thought it was down.
Okay.
They took it down.
Anyway, so I did get her book, which was written before this.
You buy all sorts of books, don't you?
Can't you tell? And so we'll do a little podcast on that. We're not going to tell you when, because I don't want you canceling it out.
We don't know when.
Yeah, I don't know when I'm going to get the book.
Right.
So we'll do that.
Okay.
So that was my... Okay, did I say my healthy?
No.
What are in season now? Cherries.
Oh, yes. I saw you brought some.
I brought some, yes. I eat so many cherries.
I do too. They had them on sale at Costco. I went back and they were gone.
Mm-hmm. I like to buy them from the little stands there, because it's the small business.
Yeah,
I'm trying
that's
to support.
a good idea.
And those are the ones I brought you, were those. And they're so nice, and they're just... anyway, I go there quite often. But what I did, besides eating hundreds of cherries an hour, I can't eat them while I'm doing this, because that looks rude.
You don't eat on camera.
I don't? Okay. The muffins I made.
Ooh.
Obviously
you
vegan.
You didn't bring me a muffin.
Vegan, because you said you wouldn't eat what I had in it.
Oh.
I had almond flour.
You're right.
Said,
You're
yes.
right. No,
okay.
Thank you. You're right. Thank you.
But there is no oil, there is no dairy, no eggs, obviously. They're vegan, gluten-free, no oil cherry muffins. They're delicious. And I actually pitted all the cherries myself. I didn't put them in my mouth and then put that cherry in the muffin. Don't worry if I ever give them to you. No, that's not what I did. I opened the cherries. So they're fresh cherries. They're not even frozen. So
yeah, they are.
They were really good. That was my healthy indulgence.
All right.
Okay.
So mine,
yes.
You remember I was telling you about the slow breathing that I learned from Dr. McGregor. I mean, Dr. Greger, not McGregor, Dr. Greger.
McGregor's from
And you and you had this thing that, and I misspoke, and I thought you were saying that you had...
Kundalini yoga?
Yes, I love that word. And so I said, well, I got to read that again. So I went back and read it again, and Dr. Greger talks about 5 or 6 breaths per minute. Not 1, 5 or 6. I thought, okay. And then, so as I want to do, I read the discussion underneath it, the comments.
Yes, I love that.
And one of the comments was this device called a Respirate. It's a device that's about this big, and you put a thing around your stomach, and so abdomen, your thorax, and so it will measure your breathing, tell you what it is, and then it will teach you to breathe 5.5 breaths per minute. So I did some.
You did?
I did.
Oh
I
my
put
gosh.
some research on it, and I checked out.
Did you get it from Amazon?
No.
Oh.
I bought it from them.
Oh, good.
It's actually a little bit cheaper if you buy it from them, and they'll give you three. You can pay in 3 equal payments, or if you pay all at once, they throw in a nice carrier for it.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So I bought it from them. I haven't got it yet.
Okay.
But hopefully. Not the next time we talk, but I will do a research on it. But they not only sell you the device, which is what you would expect them to do, but you sign up for it, and then before you get the device, they send you 3 things to prepare for the device, which is really nice.
No, that makes sense.
One of which is a piece of paper that you keep track of your blood pressure on, and then they tell you how to do it. I mean, you think you know how, but they say we suggest you, which I didn't think of doing, is that you take your blood pressure 3 times, and then take the lowest of those 3, and they say, take it the same time every day. Well, that's sort of, I knew about that, but so I'm sort of excited about getting it. I have been religiously doing it 10 minutes every morning.
Wow, that's great.
But it's hard because and I count. I try to get do the right times, but then I'll fall. One time I fell asleep, and then my mind will wander, which it does a lot. So I just thought it's just expensive, but I don't care. It's cheaper than going to the hospital, or it's cheaper than going to the funeral home. So
I think that's great. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, me too.
That's
I
good.
So anyway, that's my healthy thing.
All right, breathing.
Now,
Speaking of which, yes.
Now, what is
it's
there
important to breathe
every day,
especially if you're outside walking by yourself. You need to breathe in oxygen, not your own CO2 covered by that
mask.
Thank you.
Yeah, and plus you get all the bugs in there and they fester. It's not good. All right. So before we get off in one of your tangents, what are we going to talk about today?
I was so excited about this book I bought.
Yes, of course you did.
And it's funny because last time, or just on our last podcast, I noticed I had 2 of the same book.
Yeah.
And I ordered this book and I thought, I ordered it a long time ago. But for some reason, Amazon thought delivering toilet paper was more important than delivering my book. So it got a little waylaid from my Prime. But I thought, I'm going to order that book. And then it said, you recently ordered. I go, good thing I didn't buy it again. It's called A Parent's Guide to Intuitive Eating, but I just want to cross off that Parent's Guide because I think it should be called Everyone's Guide to Intuitive Eating. How many of us, and another topic was mindful eating. It kind of goes hand in hand. How many of us actually do that? Not me. When I'm binging on a Netflix, there's actually an Amazon Prime show. Did any of you guys ever see that show Enlightened? I didn't watch the first season. I watched the second season, but it was pretty good. With Laura Dern, who does an absolutely fantastic job.
Do I have to put that in the comments?
No, don't put that in the comments because that doesn't really relate to anything I'm saying. But I love this, getting off on a tangent. Laura Dern, actually, she cast her mom in it, Diane Ladd, which I thought was really sweet. So her mom played her mom, which usually they will hire, like Diane, someone would hire their mom to play their mom, and she's only like, 2 years older in real life, but in real life, I mean, yeah. I also watched another great movie, Ride, with Helen Hunt. She did all her own stunts. She's 56 years old and she did all her own
What's it about?
It's about this woman who's trying to connect with her son, and her son wants, her son wants nothing to do with the mom. What kind of kid is that? He's going off to college and he decides he wants to be a surfer, so he moves out to California, and she just thinks,
Is it on Amazon? Where did you see it?
I think it was Netflix. Actually, I think that. You get them all confused, don't you? Netflix,
yes,
Amazon. It's like, where did I see it? I don't know, it was a freebie thing. I also watched another great one.
This is not...
Okay, I know. Okay, one more.
Twiling out the movies.
This one was so cute. It was called Jessica. It's an old movie with Angie Dickinson. Who remembers Angie Dickinson?
I do.
Okay. I'll remember Angie Dickinson because I remember when my dad, he really liked that TV show that she was in. She was actually Sergeant Pepper, but nothing to do with Sergeant Pepper and Lonely Hearts Club Band, but that was her name. And I remember thinking, man, she's got a good figure. Thinking, how could I get that when I was in high school? She said her diet was beer and popcorn. So I Googled that now that I have a computer. I go, is that something I remember? Is that true? Sure enough. Pulls up the picture.
Yeah.
Her and Earl Holliman. She's eating beer and popcorn, which I don't drink beer, but okay. And I need an air popcorn. Back to, how did I get off on...
It's hard
It's
telling
easy.
with
It's
you.
easy. Okay, so intuitive eating. I think that's so cute. That's the mommy tomato and like her two little babies. But how would you raise kids who love to eat healthy? I got this because I thought, okay, I'm raising not really raising, but he spends a lot of time at my house. And yes, he's exposed to obviously just healthy food. But when you get out in the world, as we do, even at kids our age, we get out in the world, and it can be sometimes challenging. So I was in my hyperbaric chamber. What's a hyperbaric chamber, Al?
It's in Roseville.
Yeah,
where is
and
it,
what do
or
I do
is
there?
it?
What do I do there?
They give you pure oxygen. You lay down and you make notes that you forget to bring home here with you, so it makes it hard for me to deal with.
I know it does. Okay, so here,
With
so I have to
everything
write
she
in the
does.
book because I didn't have my notepad with me. I start reading this. I go, oh, this is going to make a great podcast. All right. So, here was the number one thing I loved. I loved this saying, and what he says is, or in the introduction, she has a great, were you able to watch any of the YouTubes I sent you on her?
I did watch them. I was so impressed. You sent me a 19 minute video.
I was saying 19 videos. They didn't send you 19 videos.
Now you have to be careful because that's in my limit. I will watch that. Well, I watched her video and chicken to chickpeas, a 30 days experiment that changed her life. And I was so impressed. She comes waltzing out and says, I used to hate animals. I hate dog hair. And
was that crazy?
She is just wonderful. I was so impressed. I sent a link of that to all my relatives and loved ones. I thought in 19 minutes, and I'm going to put a link on this for you guys, because in 19 minutes, she succinctly describes why we should not the reasons that you and I, but just the whole
planet, universe, world.
Everybody, why we should, and here's what I love too. She calls herself a totally vegetarian, not just a vegan. Total vegetarian, which is really what we are. A vegetarian, milk doesn't grow in the ground. Well, coconut milk does. But
I think they're,
cheese is not vegetarian. I mean, eggs aren't vegetarian. So it's stupid. So the other thing that I liked about her in that video, which is not what I do, but she says you don't have to do it all at once. And she said, I can hear you all going, whew. And she says, just take the first day and don't eat meat, and take the second day, or maybe, and I thought, yeah, that's probably better, but that's not what I do.
Well, but I agree with what you said, though, earlier. I mean, in your story, like when you talked at my class and stuff, some people don't have that option of taking it one day.
Right. I did not have that option.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so, I mean, obviously you did have the option, but the other option was...
much less desirable.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's really important because not everyone is where you are. Not everyone is where I am. Lucky you guys. So I think just doing something, and you'll be amazed because I didn't start out a vegan, obviously, but went from vegetarian, then pretty soon vegan, then pretty soon whole food plant-based, then pretty soon no oil. So for me, it was, kind of a road like that. I love her name, though. Do you remember her name?
Yami. Dr. Yami.
I call her Yami. Y-A-M. Would you love a name like that? Yams. How perfect is that for a vegan? I'm like, whoa, that's like if I ever said, like, what would I do if, Kevin Bacon asked me to marry him? I can't have a last name Bacon. That'd be no way I could ever do that. Just like, Kevin, don't even think of divorcing Kyra because that's not going to happen.
You could keep your maiden name. Maiden name, whatever it is.
Whatever my name is. Yeah. I like Beyonce and Cher and Sting. I just have a first name.
That's right.
And which he can't even remember.
Everybody
here is like a good philosophy in life.
Okay.
And it is written by a medical doctor. Maybe you've heard of this doctor. I won't tell you until afterwards. Here's what he says, and this sums up the whole price of the book. Trust yourself. You know more than you think you do.
Yeah.
And who said that?
I don't know. You just did.
Okay, I'll claim it. Yeah, I made that up. Have you ever heard of that pediatrician, Dr. Spock?
Oh, yes.
That's one thing that he said. You know, people, at least in my mom's era, they would read Dr. Spock.
Oh, you're right. Actually, he was my generation.
Well, mine too. Right.
No, you're behind me a bit.
Okay. Behind you, right? Okay, yeah. I haven't reached his level yet, but
not in that.
No, I know what you mean. But he was so good about that. It's just like especially parents now, freaking out about so much, and he'll just say, trust your intuition, and I think that's what we can do even when we're eating, not just raising our kids. What's your intuition? Intuitively, do I know that I shouldn't be eating 10 pounds of cherry in one day? Probably.
I have always maintained that just because 60 to 70% of our population is basically unhealthy in one form or another, I think everybody intuitively knows they're not eating healthy.
I agree. But what keeps them?
Salt, oil, and sugar.
No, what keeps them hooked into salt, oil, and sugar? The same thing that's keeping a lot of people hooked in this pandemic is media. If you didn't see that picture of that cheese pizza, if you didn't see that picture...
I go with what Dr. Lyle talks about, the pleasure trap. We are designed to live...
comfortably.
We are designed to live scrounging for food. We're living in an abundance of food, and our body was not designed to have this much food. We're not used to being able just to go over to the refrigerator and open it and get food. We used to have to forage for it. We used to have to, which is why we ended up eating berries. And
really?
Yes, and fruit and things.
And even nuts that Al doesn't eat. But
right.
But I was thinking about that. The thing is, it's not easy to eat a nut.
Correct.
So I think that's why I think nuts are okay, but not like already shelled eating a bunch of pistachio handfuls. But by the time it takes you to...
I used to have a macadamia nut tree in the backyard, and I used to eat free range macadamia. They're hard to crack. It takes you all day, and you get maybe a handful. Now that's an extreme. But walnuts and the rest of them, it used to be when I was a young kid, they would have a bowl of them on the table with a nutcracker. And so you would crack them and then eat them. And that took a long time. But today you buy a jar of them.
Yeah, I can remember sitting, when I would bake Christmas cookies and stuff, but sitting on the floor in my house with a hammer, cracking walnuts.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you can buy walnuts anymore like that.
I don't either. I haven't seen them. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if you go to like a walnut farm or orchard or whatever, but and I used to get this big bag and I'd sit there with a hammer cracking them out. Oh, darn, I split it too hard and I didn't get halves or whatever.
Well, Esselstyn says, he says it's all right to eat a few nuts. He says, but you don't want to sit there all day and eat, which is how we eat everything today.
That's what Dr. McDougall said. Our problem is we feast 21 times a week.
Yes.
It used to be just on Sunday. We'd have basic beans and rice or something, just oatmeal or something for the whole week. And then on Sunday, everybody worked really hard to bring out their best pies and their best cakes, for after church. So... okay, so...
we got off on that tangent.
Really? Gee, that never happens, Al.
No.
Okay, let's get back to intuitive eating. So I do recommend, please watch her videos. Her story is so interesting.
And watch the 19-minute video and send it to your friends. It's just... She just does a wonderful job.
And she's happy and she's vibrant.
She is.
I love it. Her story, her personal story was so interesting. I'm not going to read the whole thing, even though I said read it. I'm not going to read the whole thing. But I liked what she says that people are now eating desserts 3 times a day.
Yeah. I got in that habit.
Oh, me too.
I eat dessert twice a day. But now it's either watermelon and a banana or grapes, or and Dottie just cut up some other kind of melon. So it's all fruit for desserts. But
I remember when I was growing up.
I'm in the habit.
Well, when I was growing up, we would eat French toast. So French toast is white bread, which is basically sugar, with more sugar, cinnamon, and syrup on it, and butter.
Yeah.
So that was
really
a healthy breakfast, right?
Oh, no.
And then for lunch, what did we? I mean, some white bread sandwich with cheese. I mean, and not even cheese, but cheese.
Oh, I had, right before I had my heart attack, I used to have bacon cheeseburger with a banana shake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wonder why I had heart problems.
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know.
It's probably from that piece of lettuce they put on the hamburger. I bet. Next time, hold the lettuce. That lettuce and tomato. Hold that.
What did it?
So I remember, I think it was actually Chef AJ who said, or maybe I think it was Dr. McDougall who said, if you're reading labels, which again, we suggest eat food that doesn't require labels. But if you're reading labels, in the second and in the first 3 ingredients, they list sugar, you're eating a dessert.
Yes.
I love that.
Well,
it is a dessert, it's not a food.
Dr. Greger talks about...
Is that who it was? Okay.
I don't know. A different subject, but the same thing. He talks about, if you look at the sugar content of breakfast cereals, there's more sugar than there is in candy that you buy.
Mm-hmm. And that's what she says, and that's what we've been feeding our kids. Can I just mention our friend Tita? Tita, if you're watching this, yes. So she once told me, she says, Twyla, I don't know about my mother-in-law. She's 95 years old, and that's all she eats is dessert. All she eats is ice cream and pies and cakes. And I looked at her, I said, Tita, when I get to be 95, that's all I'm eating.
Well, they say that as you get older, and I'm older, that you don't taste as much. But I don't know. I have, Dottie makes this most savory meals. I mean, last night we had 4-bean soup.
Beans? Yay!
Yes. We had a little spinach in it. It was really tasty. If you're on this lifestyle, your taste buds will change.
They do.
So I haven't lost my sense of taste yet. So.
Well, Dr. Yami was interviewed, if you saw her on Food Revolution with Ocean Robbins and John Robbins, and Ocean Robbins brought up the fact that he understands that we, as children, we are natural vegans. He said if you put a baby in the crib and you put an apple in the rabbit, hopefully, unless you got a weird kid, they're not going to go for taking a bite out of the rabbit. They're going to go for the apple.
Even when I was a carnivore, I'd go out to dinner with people and we'd order fajitas. With the chicken or beef, whatever, and I'd eat that. But I would pick up from other people's plate. I'd pick the veggies up. I always loved veggies.
I did too. Even as a child, like the French toast, if I could see egg on the outside of the bread, I'd be like, ugh, no, I had to cut that part off. I couldn't stand that part. I never wanted, after Thanksgiving, my mom made the turkey into tamale pie. I always picked out the turkey. I just wanted the cornmeal and the, corn and stuff like that. So, anyway, I think, and that's what she's getting back. No way! Al!
I know.
He beeps at that timer, and I haven't even got. Okay, where am I?
In case you haven't noticed it, that my job is to keep her as the timekeeper.
I know. What if there wasn't? Okay, let me just say one thing. Chef AJ says, when you say you're hungry and you won't eat an apple, then you are not really hungry. You're emotionally hungry, not physically hungry.
Yes.
So again, that comes more to intuitive. Okay, well, I had a whole. Please get her book.
Read the book.
Read the book and watch her YouTubes and
just watch the 19. That will encourage you.
All right. Okay, Al, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's it.
What's your closing remark?
I gave it already.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay. Another thing. She just talks about body acceptance, and that's something I think we really need to do. I remember when I was in junior high and high school, we had to actually get out of our clothes, put on gym clothes, take a shower, put our clothes back on. And I've heard this before, that there was so much more body acceptance then because we could all see each other and we didn't all look like Heidi Klum or Christy Brinkley. Now we think that's the norm, Kim Kardashian and all those people. When the norm is, when you could see them in the gym there and we were all different sizes, different shapes, you didn't think anything of it. So He didn't have much of a body, as much as a body image complex as some of you maybe grew up on Cheryl Tiegs or Twiggy or something. Okay. All right. Again.
Keep those cards and letters coming.
And I miss you guys, and I hope to see you soon. Yeah. See you next time.